we move to our unit 1. So we had selfless leadership and karma yoga in action. We have completed selfless leadership. What we have done is we have done case study of few kings: King Shibi, King Harishchandra, King Janak, King Ram, Prahlad Maharaj. We also saw our modern leaders: Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose. I had missed last time, but yes, someone reminded. That's definitely a very, very good example. Srila Prabhupada, Ram Sukdas Ji Maharaj, APJ Abdul Kalam, Swami Vivekanand, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Dr. G. Venkatasamy, Ratan Tata. So they all are the selfless leader that we had studied, right? And the traits, the leadership traits that we saw was commitment to dharma or duty driven, emotional maturity and clarity, mindful engagement with deep faith in Supreme, authenticity and credibility, determined and empathetic. With each example, we had covered that, right? So today, what we'll do is we'll start Karma Yoga in action. And what I wanted to actually tell you about is that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has explained Karma Yoga at 3 levels. He has explained Karma Yoga at 3 levels. He has slowly taken Karma Yoga, at a different level. So the first level that he take Arjun through, after explaining about the, once about soul and body, mind and soul, the first level he takes to Arjun is about from a body perspective, about the Sakam Karm. What is Sakam Karm? Sakam. Kam matlab fruitive actions, right? Kam means iksha, some desires, right? Sakam means with desire. So it is fruitive actions, right? Fruitive results. So Sakam karma is something in which you do a karma and you have an expectation of results. Like all of us, we all work, we all expect that we will get salary or we'll get something, and then we use that for our to fulfill our desires, right? So all that is comes under Sakam karma. Understood? So first he explains about Sakam karma, which is at a bodily level, right? Then he takes Arjun to the next higher level. He says, first you do Sakam Karm, and whenever we are doing a Sakam Karm, the result of it is going to bind us. It is going to bind us. We will actually be in the cycle of birth and death, right? So Gita actually helps us to break this bond of cycle of birth and death. So the first thing he explains to Arjun is about do your duty, which is your bodily duty, and then you are actually you get the result, and by this you will get some results. So we'll take that later. Then he takes him to the next level of karma, which is Nishkam Karma. Nishkam Karma, the most famous slok that we always read, Karmaniya Vadikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana, right? That is Nishkam Karma, means you do your duty with detachment. Shravan, you can ask your child to sit next to you. It's good that he's also there. If he learns, that's nice. I'll be more than happy. He let him sit there. Huh? So Nishkam Karma is what? Nishkam Karma is basically what? It is at a next level, which is at a detached from your results, which is basically at a mind level. What happens when we are working with detachment from the results? What we are doing? We are actually getting purification of our mind. What is happening? We are getting purified. Why purification of mind? Because we'll go that in detail. And then the third level that Krishna takes, which is Nishkam Karm Yog. What is the meaning of yog? We all know yog means all the bodily exercises that we do, right? Actually, the word yog comes from the root word of the yog word is yuj. Yuj means connection. Yuj means connection. And yog means connection. Connection to whom? To God. Yoga is connection. Connection to whom? To God. So Nishkam Karam Yoga is do your duty and give the results to God. Got it? So he takes Arjun to these 3 levels in the Karam Yoga that Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita. So Sakam Karam is at a body level. Nishkam Karam is talking about control your mind, and Nishkam Karam Yoga is at a soul level. So we learned first that we have to see ourselves at the 3 levels, right? At body, mind, and soul, right? That is how Krishna has explained Karma Yoga in Bhagavad Gita. So what I wanted to explain to you before we go to the shlok, I just wanted to show you this picture. So as per Bhagavatam, so Bhagavad Gita is is when we go into the into this our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be a graduation, and at a graduation level, and when we go to our Puran, we have 18 Puran, and out of 18 Puran, this is from Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is a Mahapuran, and is one of the Mahapuran, and Bhagavatam is at a post graduation level, right? So Bhagavatam talks about the cosmology. I have been talking about material world, spiritual world, right? So as per Bhagavatam, this material world is actually there are 14 loks in that. There are, you must have heard about it somewhere, something, but how exactly it is like this. There are 14 lok, and out of that, Bhulok, the lok in which we all are staying is Bhulok. It is the earth, which is Bhulok, right? Above us, there are 6 loks, which we call Swarg. ऊपर जाते हैं ना, स्वर्ग जाते हैं, तो बेसिकली क्या है, भू भूवर स्वर्ग महर जना तप satya. Satya brahmalok. Now brahmalok is a place where Brahma stays. Okay, so this is the picture. This is this lok, and if you go below, we only know patal chale jaate hain hum, demons, we say that way, right? So patal kya hai? Patal is also 7: atal, vital, sutal, talatal, mahatal, rasatal, and patal. So these are the 7 lok which is below the earth. So based on how what karma we do, accordingly we get the results, and accordingly we get placed into different loks, into different loks. But this all 14 loks that you see is actually constitute the material world. All these 14 loks constitute the material world, right? And anyone, when we are in Bhulok and we do the Sakam Karm, when we are doing Sakam Karm, the work which gives us with fruitive results that we expect, what happens? We can, when we are in the mode of goodness, we talked about the modes. We talked about ignorance, we talked about passion, we talked about goodness, and we said we work in the mode of goodness. So even if we are working in the goodness, we will basically go up in the Swarglok, which is again a part of material world. All this is a part of material world, and the spiritual world is beyond this. This is all, even till Brahmalok, everything is temporary. We'll talk about time, which Gita talks about in detail. Time, exactly how the time relation is between different loks. One example I'll give you about time. I think all of us have do it, or we know about it. Is in annually in a year we actually do a give food to our ancestors. Pitru Paksh we call it, right? In Pitru Paksh, what we do, we actually offer some food and everything to our ancestors, right? Those who are not there. So Pitra Lok is basically above Bhulok, and the 1 year of Bhulok is actually 1 day at Pitralok, and that is why we give it once a year. Similarly, there's a timeline which is explained in detail in Bhagavatam about all, and how exactly the entire cosmology happens is explained in detail in Bhagavatam, right? So what I wanted to explain to you here is that we have 14 loks in the material world. Bhulok is the middle one in which we all are, and above us we have 6 loks, below us we have 7 loks, right? Okay, so this becomes the material world. Now, this is our Vaikuntha Lok. Now, the spiritual world is called Vaikunt. Vaikunt is a general term for the spiritual world. It is not only the place where Narayan stays, but Vaikunt means the spiritual world, right? And there are a lot of other loks inside Vaikunt Lok. And one of the loks in Vaikunt Lok is Golok Vrindavan, where Krishna stays. Clear? So this is basically the spiritual sky. And if you can see here, this is a spiritual sky. Can you see this material universe? Right? So this is the line. I was trying to draw a red line to show that, this is how it is. And when we use the word transcend, it means move away from the material world to the spiritual world. So when we do activity for soul, when you say do it and give it to Krishna, then you are doing an activity which is transcending the material world. It is in this area. So everything, the relation between the material world and the spiritual world is your consciousness. In what consciousness are you doing the work? Everything is in our consciousness. If we have that realization, we can change our consciousness and we can actually do our work in the spiritual world. Understood? Clear? So because now I'm going to use shlok, so I wanted to explain this and then I will go to the shlok. So again, karma has been explained by Krishna in 3 levels. The bodily level, which is whatever, even in the mode of goodness, we make dharamshala, we make hospitals, we give charity, we give donation for, feeding hungry people. All those good work is basically the sakam karma. And it is at a bodily level. And it will give you a better life. Why someone has a better life? Why someone has a born in a poor family? Why things happen? One of the reason is what activity we do at what level, in what mode we are doing the activity. And that activity, when we are doing in the mode of goodness, we will get a birth, and we'll get a human birth. Our birth will be, we'll probably get into a rich family or a good family, and we will probably have more money or maybe good looking. All those criteria, all depends upon our karma. And what happens, but it doesn't stop us, it doesn't break the cycle of birth and death. We still continue in the cycle of birth and death, right? So this is at a bodily level. Our consciousness, I work, I get the result, and I enjoy it. Okay. Now when we do nishkam karm, it means we are doing the work, but we are detaching from ourselves. No, I am not doing the work. My body is doing the activity, but yeah, it has to be done. So I'm doing. So I'm controlling my mind. What I'm doing, all our desires comes from mind, right? Now, it comes from soul, but anyway, mind. Mind is the biggest enemy. Mind is the best of friend, and mind is our biggest enemy. All desires, because mind and all senses, through senses, mind controls our body. Right? So what Krishna says by Nishkam Kar, detach yourself. Control your senses by controlling your mind. Remember the charioteer diagram? If our reins are strong, if our intelligence is strong, what will happen? Our horses will be controlled. So Krishna says by doing that, detach yourself. Don't let the senses go here and there. Control that. Understood? Yeah. And when he say Nishkam Karm Yog, that is at a soul level. It means give it, connect to Krishna. So you connect whatever you do and give it to Krishna, you are getting connected. Your work is getting connected to the spiritual realm. Understood? That is the relation. Now let us go to the shlok. Karm Yoga in action. Karm at a bodily or material level. What Krishna says? Again, repeat after me. Swadharma vichavekshya. Swadharmam. I'll first read slowly so everyone can understand the word, then we will read it. Swadharmam api. Can you see this word? Swadharmam api.
Swadharmam api
Chavekshya.
chavekshya
No.
na
Vikampitu.
vikampitu
Arhasi. Vikampitum arhasi. Yeah, here
arhasi.
there's okay. Fine. Dharmyadhi. Dharmyadhi.
Dharmyadhi
Yuddhach. Yuddhach. You read till cha.
Yu-
Half cha.
yuddhat
Shreya. Shreyo.
shreya
Anyat.
anyat
Kshatriyasya.
kshatriyasya
Na vidyate.
na vidyate.
Na vidyate. Okay. So I'll read it now. Swadharmapapi chavekshya.
Swadharmamapi chavekshya
Na vikampitum arhasi.
na vikampitum arhasi.
Dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyo.
Dharmyadhi yuddhavsheyo
Anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate.
anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate.
So I will not go into detailed explanation because later I'll be going through that. I'll just read the meaning of that. So Krishna explains, considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, Arjun is a Kshatriya. So considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting. Krishna is now explaining to Arjun what he should do. First is your dharma. Your dharma is you are a Kshatriya. So do your duty as a Kshatriya. So considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principle. You have to save dharma. And so there is no need for hesitation. Okay? That is what is he explains to Arjun. And then he says, Ath chetam imam dharmyam
सचेतम् इमं धर्म्यं
dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi
सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि
tatah swadharmam kirtim cha
ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च
hitva papam avapsyasi.
हित्वा पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sin. You have to do your duty, and if you do not do your duty, what will happen? You will definitely incur sin for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Fine. So he is now first stage of karma is sakam. So he is asking him to follow his dharma, and if he doesn't do his dharma duty, then he is actually incurring sin. And third, he says to Krishna to Arjun is hato va prapsyasi swarga
हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि सस्यसि स्वर्ग
jitva va bhokshase mahim.
जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम्
Tasmad uttishtha kaunteya
तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय
युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः.
युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain to heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So that is what he's telling now. So this is the Sakam Karm 3 stroke that he has told there. He's telling Arjun that you have to do your duty, which is your Kshatriya thing, fight. Otherwise, what will happen? And the result of it, what will happen? Either you will die. If you die, you will get Swarg. And if you don't die, if you will win, anyway, you are going to be the king of the entire world. So, what is your worry? So, he is giving him the carrot, right? So that he gets up because he is now mentally totally disturbed and he's listening to Krishna. What should I do? He has asked him, right? So he's first giving him the carrot that do your duty, right? So this is Sakam because he's giving him the his carrot that fight so that you can get Swarg. So it is at a bodily level. It is again in the cycle of birth and death, right, Ashwarya? Correct? That is this stroke is from Sakam Karm. Now Nishkam Karm from detachment, we all know Karmaniye Vadikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana Ma Karm Phal Heturbur Made Sangostav Karmani. You have to do your duty. Do not bother about the results. You are not entitled to the results because never consider yourself to the cause of results. But doesn't mean that you will not do your duty. You have to do your duty, right? Then next one, Sukh Dukhe Same Kritva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo Tato Yuddha Yajusva Nevam Papamavsisi. So what is there? You have to do your fight by keeping your mind strong without bothering about Sukh Dukh, Jay and Parajay and Labh and loss and gain. That is what he says. This is Nishkam. That is detach yourself from the results and do your duty. It means control your mind. So that is at the second level. And the third level, Nishkam Karm Yog, he says, we just read, Yagyarthat Karmano Anyat Loko Bandhana Tadartham Karm Kaunteya Mukta Sangha Samachara. Right? So work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. How should we do our work? It should be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Otherwise, work will cause bondage in this material world. If we are not offering the results of our work to Vishnu, then we are actually getting bound. And then, therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. Clear? Clear? And very important shlok. In this, he clearly calls out. He says, Mai sarvani karmani. Mai means for me. Sarvani is all. Sarvani is all. Karmani is karma. All work you do for me. He clearly calls out that do it for Krishna. Do all the work for Krishna. Sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. And with your consciousness fully given to me. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigajjara. What you have to do without any nirashir nirmamo means without desire of any profit or loss and without thinking that you are doing so, you are the owner of it. You do the fighting, right? So Krishna very clearly calls out that do the work. He explains to Arjun, do the work as an offering to me, which is the third level of Karma Yoga, right? So therefore, O Arjun, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Understood? So this is basically at 3 levels. Any questions that you have?